All right, we are starting to record. And Jim, I think you should still be able to go through your slides, even with me being the host. So.
Okay, are you seeing, is everybody seeing the screen? The
Yes.
welcome screen?
I am.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, why don't we start? First of all, as a reminder, flying this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Bring your own chairs at Bel Air, Antrim County. Mickey, we still on for that?
Yep.
All right.
Pancakes, 9 o'clock.
Okay, pancakes, 9 o'clock. It's in the T hangars on the north side of the airport office and ramp area. So you have to taxi or drive back into follow the taxiways up to the north hangars there. Okay. So hopefully see everybody, or as many people as who care to join us. The one at Empire was a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah, it was a hoot.
Okay. It's good to see everybody. And we'll go from there. I'd like to talk a little bit about some things we've done in terms of putting together a flyer to make ourselves more known in the community. And so Christian and Bill and Mickey have put this together. When do you guys want to talk to this a little bit about what we've been doing?
Hey, Mick, you want to run with it?
I was going to suggest Christian just because he's done most of the editing and incorporation, kind of his document with
Right.
good input from everybody.
Hey, Christian, before you get started, I just ran the numbers. I think we qualify for a silver chapter award. I'm just looking at it yesterday.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good news. I'm very bright here. It's unfortunate. All right. Well, hi everyone, and thanks for joining on the virtual meetings for the next little while here. So our leadership group has decided to put this document together. So this excerpt comes out of a PDF file, and what we're doing with the PDF is sharing it with a couple of other local organizations. And basically our plan there is to start laying the foundation for growth in the future. So we don't want to kind of just come out of nowhere in a few years and start talking about more serious growth at that time. So we decided that we would like to start now, even though we're still small and have a lot of work yet to do. It would be better for people to watch that growth as time goes on. So we have a couple of things that we put into this document. Basically, it's an about EAA National and about our chapter very briefly. We added this section, which is the accomplishments, since we kind of started to revitalize the chapter in November of 19. So kind of scary to think that we're creeping up on a year from that. But if you read through what's on this bullet point list, pretty proud of the progress that we've made in just a year. I think that we've covered a lot of ground. So we've got over 50 paid members now. We have an office, and in a short 2-month period, we even met bronze chapter awards. So that was pretty cool. That happened quick. We expanded out to the regional footprint, and when we were still able to do some in-person things, we're trying to get to places like Kalkaska, Frankfurt, Cadillac, and Antrim, which I'm glad to see we're doing our flying this weekend out that area. And this is just a little bit about what we've done so far. We cleaned up our mission and our vision statement, and we kind of put together a couple of bullet points for where we see things headed in the future. Jim, I'm not sure if you have those bullet points. If not, I'm happy to just talk through those.
Absolutely. Next slide.
There we go. Okay, so there's the cleaned up mission statement, the cleaned up, second one should be vision, but mission on top, vision in the middle, and then our future goals down there on the bottom. So really what we're looking at for the future goals is to kind of start getting people to think about where we would like to see things go. So expanding some of our youth education, and that will be through the Aviation Explorers group that Brian brought over to our organization. We'd like to start doing some more things formally with the college, kind of streamlining career pathway programs, getting kids started at Young Eagles, getting them excited and involved through their high school time, and then hopefully to the college where they can start a career in aviation. It doesn't necessarily mean the airlines, but it can be military, unmanned systems, commercial, corporate, you name it, lots of options out of the college.
ATC.
Yep, there you go. We would like to start revenue generation really through the aircraft that we're restoring, building, and ultimately selling. We think a lot of the long-term growth of the chapter is going to be revolving around that ability to generate revenue on our own. We can't just survive on big grants from people forever. So this is our time to do that. And then we would ultimately like to be at a larger hangar facility in Cherry Capital Airport. So we're in the office now. We're very thankful for that, and that's where we'll remain as long as they'll let us. But eventually, we would like to see that grow beyond just the office space that we're at. We would really like to grow into more of a larger hangar. And Mickey, you were one of the first to actually talk about this concept of a smaller museum. So I don't know if you have any interest in touching on that. And I'm good after that, but then we can move back over to you.
Yeah, it's just always been a dream of mine. We're kind of an aviation town, Coast Guard city. I don't know if everybody knows, but Traverse City was a naval air station during the war, Second World War. So we've got a lot of, heritage and history here. And, with some of the support, I think, of the local community, we could easily support, a small aviation dedicated museum. And if that was, in parallel with our chapter efforts and in a facility that was, jointly managed and used, I just think that'd be a cool thing. And maybe another hook that we could use when we are seeking, big donations, big grant type stuff, working with the community, not just us, but hey, we're thinking big too, whether it's, conference center, museum, and oh, by the way, yeah, the chapter's kind of running the whole deal. Yep. Just my thoughts.
There's also the first place drones ever flew was here in the Traverse City Bay. So another interesting, that's our little drone place too.
Oh, Christian, you haven't lost any years in the water, have you?
Not water. They're scattered elsewhere, but no water-based aircraft.
All right. Okay.
Lots of big woods around.
Yes, there are.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Okay, cool. Hey, I got a couple of things. I've got a meeting with Rotary next Thursday at 1, I think it is. And as we've talked many times, so the idea is to get ourselves in front of a Rotary and find out how we can receive funding. And so it's going to be a long journey, and it's time to start it. So I think this is the first step. I believe if we qualify, there's 5 one-hour sessions, and then we'll what we'll continue to do is getting our name in front of Rotary. Okay, that's certainly one part. The other part is and what's going to ground our success is involving that youth. On the 24th, the EAA has their Young Eagle workshop. They're going to make the presentation. So we'll find out, I believe materials are available. We'll find out exactly how that works. And the question is, can we do it over social distancing? So that's moving slowly forward, but it's moving forward. The EAA will supply the materials. So last thing is, Jody, I have a question for you. Are you guys homeschools?
Yes.
So I'd like to talk to you about that. To make a short story long, when I'm still in CAP, we identified homeschools as being a good a good fit for the in that case for the CAP. I think it's a good fit here. We can bring an awful lot. So once we go offline, I'll give you a call and we'll talk about how we approach that and how you guys are comfortable. And then at the same time, we'll talk about your young fella next to you, what we need to do to move that process forward. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. All right. Anybody else? Jim?
Well, speaking of young eagles, I wanted to put this slide up there, and Jody, we're really glad to have you join us here tonight, because I wanted to talk a little bit about what Young Eagles is. We often think about it as giving rides and to a number of first-time flyers, but giving rides is really only the first step of a really structured program for the Young Eagles, where we introduce people to flying through the Young Eagles flights. But then the next steps are joining the EAA as a student. Once you do that, you have access to a Sporties Learn to Fly course, which is really an online ground school, which allows the student to progress all the way up to his private pilot written, and then qualify for a first flight lesson. And then after that, there are flight training scholarships available to help fund the whole process to move people into aviation. So I just want to make sure that all our members, when we're talking to young people out there, we recognize that Young Eagles is more than just a first flight ride. It's really part of a structured program to introduce young people into a career in aviation, all the way up to and including flight training to a private pilot's license. Now, it's not a guaranteed thing, and there's limited funds available to do that, but there are funds available, and it does happen. And Bob and Sandy, I was on this website today, and one of the things they do is they point you to the nearest flight school that might be available. So I'll send you that, Bob. I'll send you that that website, because sure it would be handy if Giving Wings jumped out there as an opportunity for young people that they may not know about it, because actually only the college popped up there. So this is one of the things we want to talk about and make available. And we're kind of focused. We've been focused on these Young Eagle flights where we get 20 or 30 people. I would propose to the board going forward that maybe we concentrate on very small numbers of people, but get them into the program if that's a direction they want to go.
Yeah, that's what we did last year. Fred facilitated that, and that got us going. And
Okay.
Oshkosh is very comfortable with that. So.
Okay. The other thing that Bill and I were talking about is, do we want to try some in-person meetings? We have the office, and for example, if we wanted to do the IMC Club, would people be interested in having a sign-up list and maybe having only 8 or 10 people attend in the office and have a discussion? Potentially we could do that for Young Eagles workshops and IMC Club. And so I'm kind of looking for people's feedback. Feel free to type in the chat if you want, or raise your hand and talk. Let us know if you think that the time might be right for this. I think this falls in the guidelines of the local health departments. That if we did this in small groups with masks and 6-foot separation.
Jim?
Indoors. Yes.
Would you do that in conjunction with Zoom or just groups of 10?
I would love to do it in conjunction with Zoom.
I would think that's great.
But at the moment, we don't have web access from that office. You know, unless we perhaps took advantage of your facility, Bob, where
We're
you
getting
might have
close.
web.
We're getting close to completing that, and we'll have a conference room that would handle at least 12, 14 people.
Okay.
And you're welcome to use it.
Okay. So that's something we'd think about. My personal opinion on this is that this virus is going to be around for a long while, and you know, perhaps this might be a way to survive as a group.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Like I told you before, Jim, is I'd still like to do it on Zoom because we go away for a couple months in the winter, and I hate to miss those.
I absolutely agree with you, Bob. Absolutely. My only hesitation was we don't have internet access over there in the GA building, and so we would have to find a site where we could be face to face and have internet, unless we could solve that problem somehow. So, and so if you were willing to host it in your new facility, that might be an answer.
I think that would
Absolutely.
work.
We'll do it.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent. Yay.
Any other thoughts on that? We might try doing the IMC Club next month in such a manner.
I think we should try it. We need to keep the momentum going, you know. And it's just, you know, it's just important. We need to be out there. We need to be an asset. We need to, you know, we need to be a center where people can come, right? And having the IMC Club at Denton Farms next month is great.
Okay. Let's unless other people have items they want to raise their hand and talk or discuss, we can go into the IMC Club. This is going to be my first shot at trying to broadcast video from my house, and we tested it the other day. It seemed to work, so I hope it works tonight. Discussion won't be quite as easy, and so maybe we'll have less of it, but there's kind of an interesting lesson in this IMC Club scenario tonight.
Hey, Jim.
It's talking about, yes.
Hey, before we get going, like to see if Evan and Jody can come up next week. We'll meet at the EAA office. We can talk about Evan, how, you know, where he is, you know, and then we can also talk about homeschool. So if that's agreeable to you guys, we can set up a time. We can have some lunch and just talk through the whole process.
That definitely works, and we weren't sure if you meant that he was going to talk about some things tonight and he's ready if that's the case, but
Oh, he is, huh?
next week.
Well, let's go right ahead.
Yep, go for it. Evan, you're up. Make us proud of you.
You can grab your objectives in them that.
Are there any opportunities for me to ride along and get some time in the air?
Yes.
Are there any employment or volunteer opportunities for me?
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 16.
I don't know, but first thing we can do is ask. Right.
We just took on a intern from Glen Lake. We're always looking for positions like that.
There you go. Right. Have you guys been to Giving Wings Denton Farms?
Yeah, we've been to Giving Wings.
Okay, all right. So let's we'll meet next week and sort of talk this through and put together a plan. Okay.
And then He did try for the scholarship on the EAA website before and didn't get it, but we were just thinking about scholarship opportunities and other educational opportunities for him. And then he also has his statement prepared that you had mentioned. I don't
Good.
know if you want that now or later.
Let's go. Let's do it.
I would benefit from a career in aviation because I would be able to make money doing something I would like to do, and I would be able to support a family if I choose to have one someday. And others could benefit from me having a career in aviation because I would like to serve in humanitarian aid aspects, such as transporting patients to treatment, transporting medical staff, search and rescue, deliver medical supplies, and transport survivors and evacuees.
Good. Excellent. All right. Hey, I'll hold on to that. And Jim and I'll get a schedule and toss that to you guys. And you come up, we can talk through this. And you already gave me an idea about the Missionary Aviation Foundation. You know, they're a pretty amazing organization, and they serve and they fly. So we'll set offline. We'll set up the time for you guys to come up, and we'll talk through the opportunities and and you know, how we facilitate this. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Any chance you're going to make the fly-in on Saturday,
There you go.
driving up?
Maybe.
Well,
If you do and the weather holds, be happy to take you flying after.
Okay.
Evan, everybody wants to fly in a Cub. Trust me, it's a very, very cool experience. I've been working on it for
No pressure. We'll pull that off whenever we can make that happen. So don't think Saturday's a fleeting opportunity. If you can make it up, great. Look forward to meeting you. If not, it'll be next time we get together.
All right.
Justin and I want to know if you'll take us flying.
The Cub will be flying after the breakfast, so we'll cycle through as many as we can get in.
All right.
All right, cool beans.
Weather and wind holds.
Yeah.
It looks great. Looks like a beautiful day. So definitely like to get up and take some folks up with.
Okay, good. All right, Jim, it's yours.
All right. This is fun. This is really fun. So tonight's IMC Club scenario is talking about departing a low IMC and how do you prepare for a potential return in a case of emergency. And so it's kind of interesting. So it's kind of see what you take away from this. I got one giant takeaway from this this scenario.
Hey, Jim, the volume is.
Jim, can you see if there's a volume on the video itself? It's very low when compared to everybody else.
Okay. I've got it all the way up. Is it working?
What are you using for audio, Jim? Are you using a phone or some other device, or is it the same device that's playing the video?
It's coming right off the computer.
Wonder.
So
You have to mute your mic.
maybe I should try mute my mic. I will do that.
No, I don't think that'll solve it, Jim. It's going to be selecting a microphone. Wouldn't it be? I think there's a
screen share setting. When you screen share, it says play device computer. So I think it's in the screen share settings.
Jim, if you hover over the screen share option in the top right, there's that little arrow. See if the advanced sharing options say anything about audio.
You going to church now?
I don't see any options here. So what you guys are saying is really low. Huh?
Yeah.
There is the option to read too, if you can just read through there.
Well, I'm not sure. Any better?
No.
Conditions are almost identical in Bar Harbor. With LPV and ILS approaches available, you should be able to get in. If not, you can just fly back to Portland. So you file Portland as your alternate. You'll also have full tanks, so if things really go south, you can simply fly further inland VFR. Your clearance is simply the Portland 4 departure. Radar vectors direct. Your final altitude is your requested 5,000. After your readback, clearance asks if you're ready to taxi and issues the taxi to runway 11 in the role of ground controller. It's early morning.
Ow.
So is anything happening here that's good?
Yeah.
Or should we
No,
give up?
that's good. The volume's low. That's all, and you can hear the volume. It's just low.
Well, for a small city airport like Portland, with one commuter airline loading at the terminal building. And
Jim,
another
if you pause that video real quick and then pull that screen back up, Justin and I can look through those settings real quick. Ah, the old purple tails.
Purple tails.
Yeah, the FedEx birds, the old
Purple tails,
purple tails, baby. If you pop up that settings menu you just had up there, Jim.
Okay.
Right here.
It was in the middle of the screen there a second ago after you clicked out of it.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. If you hit that drop down to the right of speaker. You don't think that's it? Do you have multiple monitors?
Yes, I do.
Oh, it would be microphone, not the speaker. Sorry. Wrong one. Go to the next drop down. Yeah, there you go. Try that one. Yeah, it's just giving you the one option. Or what if you, yeah, click that on the left-hand side, Jim, below audio, which you're on, click screen share. What if you go to advanced in the bottom right? We'll try this, and if that doesn't work. Bottom right of this screen has a little white button, advanced. Yeah, that's not going to help us any. All right, well, just have to listen hard and read for the backup. Sorry, guys.
run up is normal. Then you set takeoff flaps and load the runway 11 ILS 3 now, just in case you need to return in a hurry. Ready to go, you get clearance from tower for takeoff. You launch and enter the clouds at about 300 feet on the altimeter. At 600 feet, you get handed to departure. As you key the mic to check in, you're passing 1,000 feet and climbing about 1,200 feet per minute. Departure calls radar contact and issues you a heading of 060 with a climb and maintain of 5,000 feet. 60 seconds later, and in full IMC, there's a bang that rocks the aircraft. The whole airframe vibrates like you're driving too fast down a rutted road. Instinctively, your hand reaches up for the parachute handle, but you pause as you touch it, realizing you're over the bay. You're also still climbing about 200 feet per minute and showing 100 knots. You can still read the instruments despite the shaking. You also see the EGT for cylinder number 6 is falling rapidly and will be below the scale in a moment. You key the mic and declare an emergency of severe engine malfunction, telling approach you're returning to Portland. Which runway will you attempt and how will you get there? Here are your options. 1. Get vectors for the ILS runway 11, which is what you briefed. 2. Tell approach you need vectors for the ILS runway 29. 3. Quickly load and fly the RNAV runway 29. 4. Simply fly your synthetic vision back to runway 29. Or 5. Fly directly over the airport and pull the chute. Analyze the resources and then make your choice.
Well, I hope we heard enough of that to get the sense of what was going on. This is the summary of people who answered this scenario. Was number 1, get vectors back to ILS runway 11, which is what you briefed. Interestingly enough, my takeaway from this was something that I guess I've never thought of doing, and that is to load the approach to either the airport you're departing from or an airport that you would go to in case of an engine failure right after takeoff. It's something that I never thought of doing, and so the instructors, when they discussed this, all agreed that was a good standard procedure. And so in this case, number 1 was get vectors for the ILS to 11, is what you briefed, only because you had loaded and prepared in your departure briefing. Most people pick number 2. Tell approach you need vectors for 29, which gets you right back, is the fastest and closest runway. 3 was do it on your own, load and fly the RNAV. 4 was fly your synthetic vision. That seemed like a really long shot to me. And then the other one, because this is a Cirrus, fly over the airport and pull and shoot. And the 39 people answered, it must have been Cirrus owners. Who else would think of doing such a thing? So,
Hey, Jim, what were the wins?
they were, I think, 07 light from 070, something like that.
Okay.
So, and I didn't, because of this environment, I didn't load all those things.
Right.
But my takeaway from that was having an outloaded, in the GPS, and having an approach loaded for the airport you're departing from. I guess I would have never thought of doing that.
So what would you do?
I actually, my answer was number 1, get vectors for runway 11, only because I just left there, and I'm already familiar with it. The other thing about this was that this is a departure over water. So as soon as you left 11, you're out over the bay, and so. Well, let's see if we can hear this. Did you guys hear enough to make it worthwhile to try to listen to this?
It actually got better at the end.
Okay. I wish I understood that, and my apologies. So this is the expert response.
Now let's hear from Ryan Cook, who will provide further insight and analysis on this scenario. Surviving emergencies means keeping your options open as long as practical. Having the option of deploying the parachute certainly factors into my choice of option 1. I'm getting vectors back for the ILS runway 11. Clearly, it's the final flight for this engine. If it stops before I land, the odds of breaking out below the low IFR ceiling and finding an acceptable landing spot are slim. On the other hand, the odds of surviving a parachute deployment are historically excellent. Of course, if I pull it now, I'm landing in the water off the coast of Maine. That can mean death by hypothermia even in the middle of summer. By heading back to runway 11, I'll be back over land within a few minutes. If the engine quits then, I'll pull the parachute. It's not an ideal end to the flight, but it's highly survivable. When the parachute has been activated above 1,000 feet AGL and below VNE, there have been 0 fatalities. Cirrus suggests that a parachute deployment should be successful as low as 400 feet AGL. That means it remains a viable option until short final. At that point, I should have enough energy to glide to the runway or at least to the airport boundary. In case that's needed, I'll fly the approach at a higher than normal speed. We're kind of in a hurry. I'll let the autopilot fly the approach to free up mental bandwidth. It's important to monitor the autopilot as usual, especially to notice any performance degradation caused by further power loss. As long as the engine is still making power, why risk a deployment not ending well? That's why I don't like the idea of flying directly over the airport and pulling as an option 5. I'm concerned about my well-being, but there are plenty of innocent bystanders at the airport, in the airliners, and the terminal. How easy will it be to hit an open space at the airport, or even the airport itself? Do I pull the parachute directly overhead, or some distance upwind? Do I account for the forward motion of the aircraft? I'm not sure.
Ouch.
Using synthetic vision for a fast, straight-in landing on runway 29 is tempting. But if you've ever flown a simulator with limited forward field of view, you know that this sort of maneuvering flight is harder than it sounds. It's doable, but the consequences of failure are severe. There may be airline traffic lined up on runway 11. Can ATC get them out of the way in time? That said, if I didn't have the parachute ready and waiting, my choice would be option 2. I'd request vectors for the ILS runway 29, telling the controller to keep it as tight as possible. I must get back to a landing spot before the engine quits. Vectors inside the approach gate is the official phrase, but I'd simply make it clear that my survival depends on getting established as quickly and as close to the airport as possible. Runways 29 and 11 use the same ILS frequency, which means it's already loaded in nav1. It also means the tower needs to switch the transmitter to runway 29. That happens quickly and shouldn't be a problem. If it is, I can quickly load the GPS approach with vectors to final. However, I must be careful that I intercept outside the final approach fix for the GPS.
Everyone go to mute.
I have more leeway with the ILS. I'd still take the ILS over synthetic vision. A quick decision here is made possible by the pilot's familiarity with the area. That sort of familiarity isn't always possible, but some level of familiarity is. I like to start IFR flight planning on the VFR sectional. That imparts a better sense of the big picture and an awareness of the terrain below than the IFR charts do. An important part of departure planning is a review of approaches that get you back down right after takeoff. It's often appropriate to load an approach or tune a nav frequency prior to departure. The emergency return option doesn't need to be the departure airport either. An airport along the departure path could be even more convenient and much faster. Emergency return options should be a part of every pre-takeoff briefing. Survival is the goal here. Immediately turning back towards land is the quickest way to put the odds of survival solidly in our favor. Having the parachute means they stay favorable even on a long flight back to runway 11. More aggressive options might slightly increase the chance of getting without a parachute deployment, but they also carry a greater risk of a disastrous outcome.
Now listen to the roundtable discussion
Orion is joined by John Krug, Bob Nardiello, Doug Stewart, Bruce Williams, and Kevin Plant.
I'm sorry, this is, so that kind of wraps it up. And I thought the interesting takeaway from that for me was, you know, loading up an approach for your departure airport, just in case you need it in IFR conditions. So, any other comments or thoughts here?
Hey, Jim, I had success by turning up the volume, and I could hear them very well. So I think during the presentation, everybody goes to mute. You turn up the volume, and then I had no problem hearing it.
Okay. Did that work for other people, or you don't have an opportunity to test this very often? So
We can do this again. You and I I'll work through this. This is the part we didn't really do yet last night, is it?
well, part of it. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. Well, I think that's all I've got for tonight. I'm sure I'm looking forward to doing these things face to face, so we get to see each other and have better discussion. These are a little bit hard to do over a Zoom conference. So.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right. Cool. The last thing is I'll try and set up some build schedules for the Revelation out at Lake Ann. I think I've got everything I need. I got to do some soldering, and then we can work on that wing strut longeron joint, and then we can start assembling the booger. So I think what we'll do is I know there are a number of people who haven't been able to make it on the times we've had Thursday evening and Saturday afternoon. So maybe we'll try Saturday morning. I'm not sure, but I'd like to get that thing sold and off our books and into our bank account. No.
Yeah, and for those.
Oh, go ahead, Jim. I was going to switch subjects, so go ahead.
Well, I would say for those who don't know, these are airplanes that projects that were donated to us. As we finish them up, we can sell them as fundraisers for the chapter. And we recently sold a portion of a Benson gyrocopter and put $1,000 in the chapter bank account. And so if we could get this other airplane assembled, and maybe as soon as you're ready, Bill, we could put together a work day and go put the wings on and see what we can do to start this guy up.
Yep.
And get it saleable.
Yep. Good. That's all I got.
Okay, Christian, go ahead.
Mickey, do you have anything that you need help with for Saturday, or anything we can?
I was going to suggest, Bill, if you've got a minute right after this, I'll call you up.
Yeah.
Just about final logistics. I've got time tomorrow afternoon. I'm not worried about getting the girls over or anything like that, but want to make sure that we have everything that we're going to need.
Yeah. We need to talk offline. So.
Yep.
Any food stuff or supplies, paper plates, any of that kind of stuff?
I think we have the paper plates. We got to pick up the actual chow, and we got to estimate how many people will show up.
We know you have ketchup, so.
Ketchup on the pancakes.
Yeah. If the chapter doesn't know, we're eating ketchup on absolutely everything for the rest of the decade, I think.
We're also pretty good for mustard.
No.
Yikes.
All right. Well, let us know, Jim, if you find anything, or Bill, Mick, if you guys see anything, just throw out a newsletter and people will be happy to contribute if you can.
All right, cool. All right, good. All right. Thank you all. Thanks, Jim. Nice job.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Jody, Evan, glad you could join us tonight.
And we'll call you and set up a meet for next week, okay?
All right, sounds good.
What are the hours for the fly-in Saturday?
I think,
We were kind of thinking 8:15, 8:30 muster. We're going to try to have the first pancakes coming off at 9, probably run an hour, hour and a half. So if you want to call it 8:30 to 10:30, would catch the heart of it. You know, if things are cranking and we need to keep going, we will.
Okay, thank you. I'll be up there with a paper cup.
Terrific.
and everybody, please remember, bring your mask.
And a chair.
And a chair.
Yeah, if you can fit it in the airplane, a chair would be good. There is a lot of space. The barber hangar is directly across from the community hangar up there, and it's, you know, it's wide open. We're going to have plenty of space, so don't be afraid to join. It will not be in confined quarters out at the, you know, at the terminal or anything like that. We'll just be around the hangar.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Looking forward to it.
Hey, Mick, I'll give you a call.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, all.
Everyone.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you.